Look at how dirty the fuzzy thing is today. This is all makeup and I don't... What is this called? A mic shield? Shield? I don't know. Ah, fame, the crowds knowing your name, everyone singing your songs back to you. For some people, it's a goal, it's a dream, but in horror films, it's a true nightmare. Hello, if you're new, my name's Amelia. Hello. I'm obsessed with everything horror and alternative culture, so if you're also a spooky dooky human, do not forget to subscribe. Subscribe? I'm gonna keep that. So, of course, like I always say, I love everything horror. Look at the horror wall. But when I'm not doing this, I also present for Kerrang Radio. I love music as well. That's my other obsession, especially rock and metal music. And I always love it when horror films talk about musicians or there's musical celebrity incorporated in them. So we're going to talk about that today. We live in a world that completely idolizes celebrity. We know the scandals. We know the gossip. We know the rumors. And we love all of that. But in horror films, we see this as a bit of a trap. From Smile 2 suffering Sky Riley, the pop star, to Trap, Perfect Blue, the shattered icon, to The Substance's grotesque obsession with youth, to Neon Demon, and also Green Room. All Green Room was a band just trying to make it. And I resonate with it so much. So strap in, get some water, get some vino, whatever you want to drink, and let's get into it. Right, let's start things off really nice and strong. We're going to talk about the pressures of fame, and Sky Riley from Smile 2 is my poster child for that. Now, hand in the air, Smile 2 is probably one of my favourite second installments of a horror film ever, not including Blade 2, actually. Oh yeah, Blade, I forgot about Blade. maybe second. But Smile 2 was so great. Even before we saw Smile 2 hit cinemas, we were immersed in the Sky Riley universe. We had Blood and White Saturn. We also had Grieved You. We also had Doctor I Need a New Brain. These songs were already released onto YouTube for us to enjoy and to fall in love with this character. And they did a really good job as well, showing us how every single step of her life is watched. We see her on TV, we see her on billboards, we see the fans, all of that stuff. So we know that she's kind of trapped. With Sky Riley as well, we know she's had the accident and she's just come back to the music sphere. So we know that she's got problems and trauma from that past experience as well. And she's trying to come back with this really big world tour. But was she even ready for the world tour to happen again? Or was she forced into doing it before she was ready? I think it was that one, really. And out of all the people I'm going to speak about, Sky Riley's probably the one that's at the top of her game. It's mentioned that she's got a Grammy, she's got power, she's got look, she's got influence, but all that didn't stop the Smile Demon from coming for her. And of course, she's got a team, she's got a manager, her mom, she's got publicists, she's also doing stuff for the charity. No one can help her. She's just a brand. And when she tries to say she's having problems, even to her mom, they completely ignore her. She's just a brand. And the scariest part of all that is not fiction. We see superstars and people just used for who they are and completely ignored. Think Amy Winehouse, think Britney Spears. This has been echoed completely in the music sphere. So seeing that in a horror film was just a bit too real. I remember when we first heard about Britney Spears and the conservatorship and how people thought, conservatorship, what's that? Oh, that's just a lie. No, it was real. And that was straight out of a horror film itself. Of course, I spoke about Britney Spears and Amy Winehouse, but this happened even way before that with people like Marilyn Monroe. She needed help and she was also ignored. We see Sky Riley in this film not wanting to let people down. She's doing the rehearsals even though her back is killing her. And people would know her back was killing her. She just had this massive crash, but people don't even care to ask her if she's okay. We see her doing the meet and greets, and when we see the bit when the fans like, Sky Riley, and she goes to the back to compose herself, she still carries on. No one from her team was like, okay, everyone, that's it for today. Everyone in the line, you saw how traumatic that was. She needs to rest. No, she's a brand. No, she has to carry on. Smile 2 was so great, not only because of Parker Finn's direction, but also Naomi Scott playing Sky Riley was absolutely amazing. This was not just a supernatural curse. She's haunted by the expectation that no matter how much she suffers, she has to keep performing, keep on smiling. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? Now we've seen the horror and what can happen to someone completely at the top like Sky Riley. But what about someone that's just trying to make it? This is the horror of trying to make it. And this is all about the band from Green Room. If you're into punk and rock music like I am, these venues, the venue in Green Room was... I was like, have I been there? It looks so triggering. The sketchy venues, asking people for petrol money, hiring cars, driving late on into the night, the gross green rooms and gross venues. This is the reality of a band trying to make it. And this is what we see echoed perfectly in the film Green Room. One real cool thing about the band in Green Room as well, because I'm absolutely obsessed with like extra features on DVD, all the band are playing their own instruments, which again gives you that feel that they're a band, they're all together, and they also gel so good. And that's because of that. Just side note. What we see in Green Room perfectly echoed is the grind about a band trying to make it from the ground up and just getting any shows they can. We see the band going to a show, the show gets cancelled, and they get offered something else randomly. They need the money, so they're like, yeah, cool. Do they like punk music? Yeah, we'll play there. But this is the reality of a band trying to get themselves out there and just get a name for themselves. One of the most terrifying things for me in Green Room is the realism and the brutality of how they just made all this scene, because it's so realistic. The movie follows a struggling punk band called The Ain't Rights. Great name. Who are broke, exhausted, and willing to play any gig just to keep on the road and keep touring. And of course, they get booked randomly to play a venue in the Pacific Northwest, not knowing that that venue is actually a venue or bar. The amount of times I've been to like punk and rock venues and I've been like, here has such a weird vibe. This, I was like, the flashbacks. Honestly, the amount of venues I've been to that I've been like, here just feels so off is it's probably not normal. So they don't know that they're in this bar, and then we see something happen and the band are completely terrified. But again, this is the reality of trying to make it. What do? They know as a band they need to completely leave this situation. And this is where we get those survival instincts kick in for the band. But of course, as we know, they're trapped in the green room. And that green room is disgusting as well. It's just so vile. This film becomes a survival horror, and it's an amazing survival horror as well. But what makes this so chilling, like I said, is you get that realism. This is an actual real situation that could happen to loads of bands out there. This is completely different to the sparkliness that we get. I'm going to put her in my hand here. Editing. This is completely different to the sparkliness that we get in Sky Riley. These guys from Green Room, that ain't rights. They ain't got a manager there. They haven't got a publicist. They haven't got a whole team. It's just them and this bar, and they have to get themselves out of that situation. If you're in a band and you're watching this, let me know the grossest situation you've been in. Scraping money for beer, venues, where to sleep. Like, it's just... It's absolute horror, isn't it? The thing that makes Green Room so terrifying is the vulnerability of the band. Like I said, they don't have security, they don't have any team. It's just them and the horrors that are happening outside of that green room. This is completely new, this is completely real, and this is real horror. There's no ghosties, there's no demons, nothing like that. This is realism, and this situation happened to the Ain't Rights all because they made a wrong decision. That for them, they thought was a right decision, and of course, didn't work out. The cruel irony of this band as well is they're not trying to be famous, they're just trying to get the names out there, and in the end they're just trying to survive. Now we see what fame can turn you into, because we're talking about Perfect Blue. This film is absolutely amazing and not enough people talk about this. It came out in 1997 and it's absolutely crazy how all the themes in this film are still relevant today, and actually even more relevant than ever. Before Smile 2, before Green Room and all the other films we're going to talk about, there was this film, there was Perfect Blue, and this showed what happens when you get everything and you decide, I don't really want it anymore. I want to do something else. Who are you leaving behind, and what do the fans think about this? So in Perfect Blue, if you've never seen this absolute gem of a film, we are following Mima, and she is an absolute J-pop icon. She's a star. Her and her friends are so big in Japan. Everybody loves them, and they have loads of fans that come to see them whenever they perform. But one thing that's really creepy from the get-go is when you do see the girls performing and you look out to the crowd, everybody is a man. But Mima wants to go into acting. She talks to her team and convinces them. They're like, yeah, if you want to give acting a go, let's see how that works for you. She's okay with it. Her team's okay with it. But the fans aren't okay. They don't want her to change at all. Mima starts to really give a go to this acting thing, and she's getting there, but she's taking on some roles that maybe doesn't really align with how she feels, but she's giving them a go. But what happens is somebody starts to impersonate her, and Mima starts to think, is that me? Is that not me? She starts losing grip of reality completely. This film starts to really dive dial up in the horror because we see Mima's life and her mind and her psychology and her inner workings completely start to be fractured as she's wondering who she is, what's going on. She's also doing these roles, like I said, where she's impersonating someone else. So that acting also starts to give her psychological, just not feeling right as well. The fact that Mima's also wanted to be an actress as well, psychologically, really plays into this horror film because she is acting like someone else, and she does a really, really traumatic scene that everyone's making sure she's okay in, but trigger warning, she's acting in a scene that's really, really horrible, and that also starts to affect her as well. A Perfect Blue was stan culture before stan culture even had a name. This was before Instagram, before TikTok, before Twitter. It's not called Twitter anymore, is it? It's X. It's called X. Before YouTube. We still had these people take the relationships with the celebrities that they liked far too far. Again, look at Norma Jean, look at Marilyn Monroe. There's so many different examples of this. The horror reflected to us in Perfect Blue isn't just the horror of Mima having the stalker and everything that happens to her. It's the horror of losing yourself and forgetting who you are while you're becoming this product for other people. Do you know the NSYNC video? Bye. It's like you're that. It's like someone else is controlling you, and this is echoed completely just perfect in Perfect Blue. Oh, Perfect Blue. Yeah. Thing also about Perfect Blue is we don't get a conclusion at the end. It's a massive oh, what happened at the end? Everything's completely open, and it's up to your own interpretation what happens at the end of Mima's journey, or the start of Mima's journey. Yeah, let me know what you think if you've seen Perfect Blue. It's a doozy. This is now the body horror of celebrity as we're moving on to the awesome substance. This is what happens when the industry is done with you because of something you can't control, your age. We see Demi Moore playing Elizabeth Sparkle, a woman who literally splits herself into two to be younger. As we all know, youth in Hollywood isn't valued, it's a requirement. And we see that taken to the extreme in the substance. When I say I love this film, that's a great sound. What sound was that? Now, I talk about this so much with my partner, how men and women are viewed in the industry. You have so many nice names for men like Silver Fox, aging like fine wine, which is usually said about a man. But then you have all these different terminologies used for women like cradle snatcher, bad babysitter. They don't say that. I don't know why that came in my head, but you know what I mean. I'm going to put some on the screen. But how are these terminologies for women that are aging in the industry? Why can't we be silver foxes? It's insane. I'm tired. We see this in life consistently. Women in Hollywood are disregarded the second they get too old. They're aged out. Cosmetic surgery, Ozempic, extreme dieting. We see this all the time. And unfortunately, the way we see this, it's just part of our genetic makeup now. It's quite normalized, but it's not normal. It's absolutely insane. And all these themes play into the substance and how we see aging in Hollywood and celebrity. The substance perfectly asks the question, if you could do something about your aging, would you actually do it? This is an actual visual thing that you can do, and I bet you people were going off for that substance. I wouldn't do it. Would you do it? Oh no, I wouldn't do it. But I bet you it was high in demand. Something I thought was really interesting when I watched The Substance is I thought that this is a version of Dorian Gray, like the portrait of Dorian Gray for a modern audience. Do you know what I mean? Now we're going to speak about Trap. Now, I need to do a video all on Trap because I really didn't like this film at all, but I've watched it so many times. I kind of watch it as a comedy film. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But something that we're going to speak about in this video is Lady Raven. Now, because Lady Raven, or the actress that plays Lady Raven, was M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, we see loads of different freaking footage of her performing because that was basically what the show was, basically what the film was all about. But one thing I thought that was really interesting with Trap is all of the security around the actual venue itself, because we have loads of punters, loads of people have gone to see Lady Raven, and we don't really see people freaked out or shocked about the police presence in this film. And I don't know if that's just like an M. Night Shyamalan error. Because people were still walking around while the gig was happening. But I thought it was really interesting. And it gave me flashbacks to, of course, what happened in Manchester with Ariana Grande. Because after that happened, we saw police presence and stuff at venues change when it came to shows. There's now a higher security presence than ever before. In my 30s, I've been going to shows in numerous venues for many, many years. And after that happened, the security presence in venues and shows really did step up. I mean, big shows, like the big arenas. The security presence is a lot different. Now, Neon Demon is the perfect explanation of the price of beauty and also the perfect film to watch along with The Substance. In The Substance, we get what happens when you're aged out and you're too old from industry standards. But in Neon Demon, we see what happens when you're young and you're in demand because of your beauty. This is what we get in Neon Demon. We see Jessie, a model who rises to stardom because of her unreal beauty. But what happens? The industry falls in love with her, but they also want to completely consume her. Neon Demon is so beautiful. It's so alluring and so disturbing. And we get some amazing visuals in this film to go along with the modeling industry and all of that. It just all ties in. And it shows what the industry wants to do to you while you're still beautiful, while you're still young, and while you're still malleable and usable. Suck the complete life out of you. So what do all these films have in common? What's the common thread? Yes, they're all based on fame, but they're all based on reality as well. Whether you're at the bottom starting off like the Ent Wrights from Green Room, or you're at the top like Sky Riley, there's something that can happen to you to do with fame. And these are just perfectly illustrated in our horror films that we know and love. You have to keep going, you have to keep performing, and you have to keep surviving as well. I love horror films that incorporate music and cautionary tales, and these films are absolutely sick. Like I said, if you have a stalker like in Perfect Blue, you'll start to lose yourself. If you're at the bottom like Green Room, you might see some really shady different things happening to you while you're trying to make it. Even if you're at the top like Sky Riley, you have to keep smiling. Perfect Blue, you'll be consumed by the industry while you're still consumable. And The Substance, even when you've done everything we've spoken about, the industry will suck you up and leave you. This is really, really depressing, isn't it? Let me know what you think about this video. I absolutely love these themes. Don't forget to follow along if you love deep dives and tearing apart of horror films, because that's what I do best. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.